Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to a new reading vlog. So this one obviously is for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the Hunger Games prequel. This video is going up a lot later than I wanted it to, and that's just because I didn't get the book until literally right now, like 10 minutes ago, and it is currently, I don't know what day it is. It's currently the 25th. This book came out on the 19th, but I finally have it and I'm going to unbox it for you guys, and I'm so excited. I've literally not been on Twitter for 4 days. Which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I don't go a day without going on Twitter. Like, I can hardly go like a half hour without going on Twitter. All I've done is like check like notifications and like messages, but I have not been scrolling through Twitter. People kept posting spoilers literally like a day or two after the book was released, and I was like, I can't handle this and I don't want to chance it. And I was like, I could mute words, but sometimes you can mute words and still see things because you don't mute the right words, or I don't know, like, I just didn't want to take any chances. So I've literally been avoiding Twitter for 4 days, and I'm going to avoid it until I am done reading. But I'm so excited to open this. I've not seen this in person, obviously. I'm not leaving my house. And I'm really excited because Indigo packages haven't had pull tabs recently, but this one does, and I'm really excited. So let's just open it. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Been waiting for this for so long. People have finished the book already. People have been posting their vlogs, and I'm like putting them all on my watch later, even though I can't watch them yet. I do think this cover is ugly, but I'm hoping that I like it more in person. Be gone with you. Oh my god, I actually kind of like it. I kind of like it. I'm really glad that they stuck with the same texture as the other books. Oh my goodness, I'm really excited for this. I've been hearing some mixed reviews on it though, from like what I have seen on Twitter before I logged off, and what Peyton has been telling me. I know Julia, I don't know if she finished it yet, but I know she wasn't enjoying it, but Peyton loved it. But I'm really hoping that I love it. I love the Hunger Games so much, and so I'm really hoping that I'll like this, and I trust Suzanne Collins. So here's the hoping. I don't know how long it's going to take me to read this because it is like over 500 pages, but hopefully only a couple of days because I want to get this vlog up ASAP and I want to have this book done so I can go back on Twitter. I need to sit down and read because I can't wait any longer. Okay, so I'm only on page 12, but we've had our very first mention of roses. They're not the white roses that we all know Snow grows to love, but it's a red rose from his grandma that she pins on his shirt when he's about to go to like the reaping. And I'm just like, oh my god, it's a rose, it's a rose. Okay, so I'm gonna keep reading. I have no like concrete thoughts yet, but I'm excited to keep reading. Okay, so Snow is on his way to the reaping, and we're finding out viewing of it is encouraged, but it says viewing was encouraged in the capital, but a lot of people avoided it. How to make it more engaging was the challenge. So like, that is such a deep contrast from what we know of the capital from the trilogy, because the capital thrives during the Hunger Games and they love to watch it. Like, it's everything to them. So to see that this isn't the case back then, before Snow was president, it's like, what changes? I think Peyton was telling me something about how during this Hunger Games, I think this is the 10th Hunger Games, that it's like the first time it's like an event, like they like add all the interviews and things. So I'm wondering if that's what they do to make it more interesting. I'm wondering if Snow comes up with it. I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading, but I just thought that would be really interesting to kind of mention, is that it wasn't something that people enjoyed watching back then. Kind of wish it stayed that way, and I have little to no doubt that it's all Snow's doing that makes people love it so much. But anyways, back to reading. Page 37, and the first mention of a white rose. So it says, Coriolanus stood on the empty train platform awaiting his tribute's arrival. A long-stemmed white rose bounced carefully between his thumb and index finger. So he gives his tribute a white rose. Okay, so we just found out that they're trying to obviously make the games more interesting for people to view and trying to get them to like root for the tributes. And so Snow is talking about how each mentor is going to get 5 minutes to interview their tribute, because normally the tributes go into the arena like the day after they arrive in the capital, and like crazy. But now we find out that the mentors interview the tributes. So Snow is going to be interviewing Lucy, which is crazy. I was kind of really hoping that we would see Caesar Flickerman, but obviously he doesn't come until later, I guess. But I'm also really intrigued and interested to see Snow interview the girl and how that's gonna play over. Lucy just called Snow gorgeous. I can't. That's so gross. No. Ew. I can't associate the word gorgeous with President Snow. I can't do it. So I'm already noticing so many differences between this earlier game and the games that we know from the original trilogy. So in the original trilogy, when Katniss and Peeta are brought to the Capitol and like brought to the tribute center or whatever, they're treated with luxury. Like they get lots of food, you know, they're like in nice penthouse things. Like, they're treated really well. These tributes, not so much. They are brought in on like trains meant for like, I think cargo trains is what they're called. Brought in on like cargo trains, and then they're like handcuffed, and then they're put in like these like cage things to be brought to wherever they're going to be staying, and then they literally are kept in a monkey house in a zoo. I wonder when the change is made to where they get treated with respect and are put in like a nice place, because this is such a stark contrast to what we know the Hunger Games to be. I'm wondering what else is different. I'm very curious. I'm on page 100 now, and I don't have any like full opinions on it yet. I'm not disliking it. I'm liking it, I guess. It's interesting to kind of see all the differing things from the Hunger Games that we know to what these ones are looking like so far. Something crazy just happened. A tribute just killed one of the mentors, and I'm just like, oof. So I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I'm gonna take a break and eat some food. I'm a little bit tired just like lying down here, so I think I need some substance. So I'm gonna take a break, eat some lunch, and I will return to this in a little bit. I do have other things that I need to do today, but I don't really want to stop reading because I've been waiting for this for so long and I want to get back on Twitter. But yeah, so I'm gonna go and I will get back to this in a little bit. So I had lunch and I'm back to reading. I'm on page 118. And Snow has just seen some rat poison. I don't know if that means anything that's gonna somehow link towards him killing people with poison to get into power. I have no idea. He's definitely just seen poison. So I just thought that I would vlog me taking notice of that, just in case it does become important, and that is like a little hint to people who know about President Snow, you know? Back to reading, because I must know what happens, because we're not even at the games yet, so gotta keep going. So Snow has just brought Lucy Gray like some crackers. He just gave her some crackers and she doesn't eat them all, and he's like, why don't you eat the next one? She's like, no, I'm gonna save these for Jessup. And she's like, he's my ally now. And Snow is so confused by that idea, saying, how could one have an ally in the games? And I'm like, oh my goodness, Lucy Gray created allies in the Hunger Games. Crazy. Also, I didn't mention this, but Snow and like some of the other like students in the academy are coming up with the idea for people in the Capitol. A way to get them to be more engaged is to be able to send them food and like sponsor tributes and like bet on them. And I'm like, so that's where it started. Snow started that, and I have a feeling Snow is going to be starting a whole lot of things from the games that we know and are familiar with that are not currently in effect during these games or like in previous games to this. And I just sent Peyton a theory that I have, and I don't know if it's true. No idea. I don't even know if it's going to come into play in this book, but I was just wondering, like, what if the reason why the games are so lavish and why the tributes are treated so well in the training center and, like, given food and, like, nice places to stay is because of what he experiences with Lucy Gray and seeing her suffer so much? I don't know. Like, that seems plausible to me right now, and seeing how upset he is about Lucy Gray. And I don't think that he's a hero, I don't think that he's a good guy, but that's just, like, something to think about. Like, maybe he was, like, really affected by seeing her like this, and so he maybe is the one that, like, makes the Hunger Games better in the future, where they're treated better, I guess, before they go into the games. It's very interesting for me to think about right now, to try to see what part he plays in the game. I'm gonna get back to reading because I just want to know everything. Like, I'm living for this new content and, like, not knowing what happens next. Like, I'm really enjoying that. So I really want to know more about how the games are going to be changing during this 10th Hunger Games and how it's going to, like, evolve from what they've known it as into what we know it as. I'm very intrigued. Okay, so I'm about to start part 2. and I just thought that I would kind of talk generally about how I'm feeling. I can see how people are bored, because Julia was telling us in the group chat how she thought the book was boring and was like wondering when it was going to get good. But it's not really different from the other Hunger Games books. It always takes Suzanne Collins a really long time to like get to the good stuff, or like to get to the actual games. It always takes like a really long time. But I think the difference is with the Hunger Games, we're attached to the characters. Like in the first book, yes, it takes a while to get to the game, but like you grow attached to Katniss very, very quickly because of how she like volunteers for Prim, and you know, like we have like reason to like want to follow her along the journey and like get attached to her. And then in Catching Fire, obviously we're already attached to her, and so we don't mind just like chilling until the quarter quell begins. But with this one, we're not really supposed to like Snow, and so I'm not attached to him. I'm just kind of more intrigued by him, and I am intrigued by Lucy Gray. Do I like her? I'm not too sure yet. I need to know more about her. There's another like capital guy, I can't remember what his name is. That's another problem. This book has so many weird names and I'm just like, how am I supposed to remember all of these? So I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm not disliking it by like any means. I just kind of really want to get into the games, but I also don't know like what kind of games these are gonna be, because like 6 tributes are dead out of the 24. A bunch of the mentors are like hospitalized and like not around to help the tribute, so that's not going well. And I'm so, what kind of games are these going to be if 6 of the tributes are dead? And like everyone else who's alive isn't doing too hot. And then I was talking to Peyton about it, and she's like, maybe Lucy Gray has a chance then. And I was thinking, she probably wins, doesn't she? And I was thinking, maybe she literally just sits there and gets all of the sponsors because Snow is gonna work his charming magic and get her sponsors, and everyone already likes Lucy Gray. And she's just gonna sit there and watch everybody else die. That's my current theory. I'm that far into the book, and I am intrigued to continue, so I am going to continue and kind of just see what happens. Part 2 is called The Prize, so I'm very intrigued, but I do hope that we get into the games soon, because I kind of want to see the games from the Capital's perspective, from a mentor's perspective, and kind of see how that goes. Honestly, I'm loving all of these like little hints to the original trilogy. We just met somebody from the Flickerman family. Obviously we know Caesar Flickerman, who does all the interviews and is like TV personality. We met, I think it was the weather person or something was a Flickerman, which is pretty cool. And then they're about to do the interview, and Lucy Gray says, well, you know what they say, the show's not over until a mockingjay sings. The mockingjay? He laughed. Really, I think you're just making these things up. Not that one. A mockingjay's bona fide bird, she assured him. And it sings in your show, he asked. Not my show, sweetheart. Yours. The Capital's, anyway. Snow keeps saying that Lucy Gray belongs to him and is his, and that he has ownership over her. And if this does not prove that he is a bad person and was always a bad person, I don't know what does, but that's just, ooh. Lucy just kissed him. No, she's better than this. I can't. Gross. Nope. Right before they kissed, he gave her his mom's compact mirror. She asked, did powder used to be in this? And he said, yes, but I thought that you could use your own. And instantly my mind went to rat poison. And I knew, guys, I told you that the rat poison would come into play. I had a feeling that they were, like, mentioning it for a reason. And so I texted Peyton and I was like, you know, with this being Snow and all, it seems highly probable that he's referring to putting rat poison into the compact mirror. And then she was like, that's an interesting idea you have. And then, like, literally, like a 2 pages later, he confirmed that he wanted her to put rat poisoning in the mirror. So, okay, Snow, I see you. Hey guys, so it is the next day now, and I haven't read any more of this, I don't think, since my last update. I am still on page 206. We're returning to it today. I've tried to match my makeup to the book. I don't know if that looks good, if you can see it. I might put a picture on the screen that I took a second ago that you guys can see like a bit closer up, I guess. It was from Snapchat, so the filter kind of changes the green a little bit. But I did my best with the colors that I have to try to match the green and gold of the covers. So I'm excited to sit down and read some more of this today and kind of see how I'm feeling about it. So this is just a quick observation. The games have just started and Snow is like describing them running off after the gong has sounded, and Lucy is still wearing her same dress. So like the games are so different from how we know them, because everybody in the games that we know wear like actual outfits that are designed to be in whatever arena they're put into. They're like outfits to help with the games, and they're like actual like functional outfits, whereas they're just wearing whatever they wore to the reaping, which I think is crazy. So that was just a quick observation. But I also just wanted to say, because I haven't fully mentioned him yet, but Sejanus, I think is how you say his name, Sejanus, he's one of the other mentors. He's like one of the only ones who's like genuinely angry about everything that the Capitol is doing with the Hunger Games, how they're like putting people on display, and I really, really like him so far. Peyton also told me that she liked him, so that's fun. But I like him. I'm excited to see where his character goes. He's just run out of like the room that they're in watching the games, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen now that we're actually in the games and see how the actual games differ. I'm also wondering how long the games actually last in the book, like how much of the rest of the book is actually the games and how much is like the aftermath, I guess. So that's something that I'm looking forward to kind of seeing. I'm literally on the same page, but one of the things that I was most looking forward to about this book in particular is just kind of seeing how the games actually work from like the game maker side of it, and like seeing how everything works with the mentors behind the scenes, because in the books we don't get any of that in the original trilogy. We do get to see bits of it in the movies, so I'm really enjoying that we're getting to see it from the game maker's point of view and seeing how the games are actually portrayed on the camera, because obviously we're just in Katniss's point of view in the original trilogy, so we're just seeing what she's doing. Like we don't have like an inside scoop of what the other tributes are doing and like what they're up to. Just for an example, at the bottom of this page they like cut to Lucy on the screen and they put like a little ad for placing bets on the tributes, and I think that's really interesting that we're going to get to see that side of the games and see what they're actually putting onto the screen. So I'm excited to see more of that, because I'm really intrigued by the whole idea of what's going on behind the scenes of the games that we're not actually seeing. Another difference that I'm noticing between these games and the games that we know is we've had our first death, our first murder. They mention that like there's little movement occurring except for a gathering of flies around the dead body. So in the games that we know, the bodies are immediately like taken up by like the hovercraft and they're taken away. But it looks like they're just leaving the dead bodies here, so that's gonna get stinky and disgusting. I don't know if they're gonna take them out eventually, if they're just gonna leave them there. I'm not sure, but this arena in general is just different from what we know. It's definitely less like high tech, because they're just using like an old like sports arena or something. So definitely along the line they start putting more money into the games and starting to make it a bit better, more advanced, I guess, but right now it's not that advanced and it's a lot different from the games that we know, which I think is interesting to read about, kind of spotting all of the differences from what we know the games to be and what it actually is in this point in time. So that's interesting. Something crazy just happened. So Sejanus ran out of the Heavensby head office place thing when they were watching the games like early in the morning, and then Snow is now back home and his mom comes, Sejanus' mom, comes to his house and is like, I can't find Sejanus, he didn't come home. And they're watching the games on the TV. And Snow's like, okay, I'll walk you home, like, you know, I'm sure he's in bed. And she's like, no, my boy is there. And she's pointing at the screen. Sejanus somehow is in the arena and is at Marcus's body, because that's what upset him so much in the first place, that he was being put on display like that. And I'm just like, what a dumbass. Like, is he gonna die? Because he just like ran into an arena? I mean, why? Okay, so I'm now on page 274, and they're doing an interview with Dean Highbottom. What a weird name. And talking about how the bombing that happened when they were doing like a tour of the arena with the tributes and the mentors changed the landscape of the arena, and it's making the tributes act differently than ever before. And I'm wondering if this is the cause for them to change the arena further on, because as we know, the arena changes every single games. It's always different, so you never know what to expect. Like for the first time with Katniss, it was just like a normal like field thing, and then in Catching Fire it was like a clock, so there was different threats each hour. So I'm wondering if this is the beginning of that makes them decide to change the games to kind of make it more interesting and keep it engaging every single year. Okay, so there was a mention of a scoreboard within the arena, which was left over from like when it was a sports center kind of thing, and there was a scene where Lucy in the arena was counting the dead bodies to figure out how many people were left, and one of them made a joke like, oh, we should use a scoreboard, and Snow was like, that's actually a good idea, we should do that. And I'm wondering now if that's also what leads into them doing cannon. They put off like a cannon sound every time somebody dies, and at the end of the day they show the faces of everybody who's died. I'm wondering if this is like the origin of that. So what I'm gathering from this book and from this games is that it's a very like transformative games for the following Hunger Games, and that Snow has a huge part in a lot of these things, which is very interesting. Okay, Chandler, that was so cute. So I'm about to start part 3, which is titled The Peacekeeper. So the Hunger Games has just ended. Lucy won, which I feel like was very predictable, and I figured that would happen. But now Snow is a peacekeeper, so I'm kind of wondering what this last little third of the book is gonna be. I have no idea. No idea what to expect from the rest of the book now. Okay, so the reason why Snow has become a peacekeeper is because they found all of the evidence of him like intervening in the games to help Lucy win, like the compact mirror telling her to put poison in it, handkerchiefs, things like that, just him intervening in the games, feeding her and all of that jazz. And so his like kind of punishment is to be a peacekeeper instead of getting to go to university and further his education. So they're kind of like condemning him to be a peacekeeper, and I think it's for 20 years. And that's just insane. So I'm kind of wondering what the rest of the book is going to be and kind of how he rises back to power. I don't know if we're going to see that in this book. I don't know what the timeline for the rest of the story is, but I'm kind of just like really, really confused. Oh my god. So Coriolanus, Snow, is going to meet Lucy Gray like in a meadow, and he's like walking up behind her, and she's singing the Hanging Tree song. Oh my god, I love it. I love the Hanging Tree song, and so it's just like, I'm so excited to see if they say anything about that song, because oh. So I'm now on page 435, and we just got to a part there like at a lake. Lucy Gray, Snow, all of the peeps that she sings with and everything, they're at a lake, and one of the guys, Clerk Carmine, just brought Lucy some white flowers, and she's like, hey, you found some Katniss. So like, of course, she had, like, Suzanne Collins just had to work Katniss in there somehow, and obviously Katniss is nowhere near being alive at this point, so it's like, it's the only way she could do it. And I'm just thinking, like, Snow's experiencing this moment of Katniss without knowing the significance that the name Katniss is going to have in his life. Wow. But overall, I'm kind of bored at the moment. The pacing in this part 3 especially is really off for me. It really drags, and Peyton said that it should be getting interesting again soon, so I'm just waiting for shit to go down basically, and I'm hoping that it happens soon. Okay, and now Lucy Gray is singing the same song that Katniss sang in the Hunger Games to not only Prim but also to Rue. I'm dead. Like, I knew from like the very first line, and I'm like, hold up. And then I just like heard Jennifer Lawrence singing it in my head, and I'm emo. Okay. Sejanus was just hanged. He was probably like one of the only characters that I actually am semi-enjoying. Like, I genuinely am not particularly attached to any of these characters, but he was actually like fighting for what was right and trying to like end all of this shit and be a rebel, and I'm mad. I'm almost done. I'm on page 472. Literally have like nothing left, and I have no idea how this is gonna play out or what's gonna happen in these last few pages. I don't really know. Okay. So I have finished The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I finished it quite a while ago. It's currently 1:13. I think I finished it at like 12:40, 12:50, something like that. But I wanted to take some time to compose my thoughts a little bit about this book. I still don't even have them fully composed, but I don't want to end this vlog tomorrow and I'm really tired and my head's hurting because, as you guys saw probably in that time-lapse clip, I was like scrunching my forehead up so much trying to concentrate on every single word. So now my head hurts, but that's fine. My overall thoughts, I don't know how to fully feel about this book. I didn't dislike it, but I also didn't love it. I feel like there were a lot of amazing things within this book that I really appreciated, a lot of like satisfying moments, but I feel like overall the pacing was really weird, especially in that last part. Like it was like really dragging for me and I'm like, okay, can we get to the good stuff now? So overall I feel like this book was just a little bit too long. I really like the conciseness, I guess, of the original trilogy and how they're like under 400 pages and whatever, but I guess that kind of blends into the different characters, because obviously in the Hunger Games we're in Katniss's point of view and she's not very observant and she doesn't really care about anything outside of her like immediate bubble. Like we don't even know like a lot of like the tributes names from that series because she just doesn't care to know. Whereas in this book, Snow is very like calculating and he thinks through absolutely everything and he pays attention to absolutely everything. So there's a lot of details in this book which I felt like lent to that slower paced story, which at times I didn't necessarily mind, but I feel like particularly in that part 3 where he's in District 12 as part of like the Peacekeepers, I was just kind of getting bored. So let's talk about the end, because so many things happened in that ending that just kind of like blew my mind. I kind of was coming up with theories as I was reading and I was like, these could possibly be true, this could possibly not be true. So one of my theories was something was going to happen that would like scare Snow into thinking that his murder weapon was going to be found, because he murdered the mayor's daughter and so he was really worried they were going to find his murder weapon. So I was like, okay, maybe something happens and he gets scared that they're going to find the murder weapon, so he starts poisoning people so they're not going to find it. But then I was like, but I don't know the timeline of when he actually started to poison people. So I was like, I don't think that's probable because there wasn't that many pages left by the time I kind of was thinking about this theory, but I was definitely thinking something to do with poison, and that I was definitely thinking that we were going to see him poison somebody, or at least I was hoping we were going to see him poison somebody, because I feel like that would have been the most satisfying end, and we did get that. There's an epilogue at the very end where he's poisoning Dean Highbottom. Theory was kind of correct. He did poison somebody, so his first like victim is Dean Highbottom, which is crazy, which also, by the way, Snow's father technically is the reason for the Hunger Games being a thing, because I think it was Dean Highbottom who created the concept of the Hunger Games for a school assignment with Snow's dad's help, but then he was like, he chickened out, he's like, I don't actually want this to be a thing, this is just like hypothetical, like I don't want this to be a thing, this is awful. But then Snow's dad hands the assignment in and essentially creates the Hunger Games, and Dean Highbottom has been associated as being the person who created the games and dragged along, and he didn't even want it to be a thing. So like 10 years he had to like go along pretending that yeah, he created it and yeah, it's a great thing, but he actually hated it and didn't want it to be a thing. And I think that's mind-blowing, just to know like the person who created the games didn't want the games to be a thing. And then my other theory was kind of like at the very end when Lucy Gray and Snow are going off to run away, and something in my head was like, something has to switch here for Snow to become the villain that we know him to be. I was like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I was trying to think of it as I was reading, like what's going to happen, because I genuinely had no clue how the book was going to end. They get to the lake house, and the second he sees the shotgun, like the murder weapon, I was like, he's gonna kill Lucy, isn't he? Because he started to talk about how he wanted to go back to the Peacekeepers and do what he wanted to do, like how he didn't want to run away anymore, and he was trying to like think of how to tell Lucy, and I was like, something's gonna happen, he's gonna kill Lucy. And I don't know, like I didn't know how it was gonna happen or like whatnot, but then Lucy also figured out that Snow killed Sejanus because Snow was basically responsible for Sejanus's hanging, which I didn't even mention, and she like went off to do something, and he's like, she's taking a long time, and like wondering where she went. And it was just like so crazy. Everything that happened so quickly. That's why my head was so scrunched up in that time lapse, because I was just like, what is happening? Because things just like literally switched like that. Like 1 second he's in love with her, or claims to be in love with her, and the next he's like getting ready to like shoot her down and like hunting her. But something that I did enjoy was seeing how he had a hand in making the games what we know them to be. And I was saying this, I think, throughout the entire vlog as I was reading, was like, all these little things that he made happen within these games that we see now and changes it, and it's completely true. Like, he completely changed the games to be what we know them to be more of a spectacle, to be more interesting, to force the districts to watch. The victor's village and everything was all his idea and all of his doing, and it's insane to think about going back to the original trilogy now, just knowing that he was responsible for these things. I feel like I had more that I wanted to say. Like, I literally just had a thought in my head and now I can't remember. Oh, Dr. Gao literally erased like all evidence of the 10th Hunger Games, and that's why we never hear about it or anything. She literally erased all evidence of the 10th Hunger Games because it was such a failure. Literally the entire time I was reading this, I was kind of thinking in the back of my head, like, why did we never hear about this games? And I was like chalking it up to being like, oh, she never planned to write this book, so she's like, you know, this was never intended for us to know, and it was never made. Like, sometimes when authors decide to like continue a series or write prequels, like, it was never planned, and so sometimes things don't add up. So I was like, I'm just going to chalk it up to that being why we didn't hear about it in the Hunger Games, because this seems like a really important games that we would have heard about, with Snow being a mentor at one point, and like this is like the beginning of everything. But the reason why we never hear about it is because all evidence was deleted, all the footage was deleted, everything was deleted, and at this point nobody really cared about the games, nobody was really watching the games, especially in the districts. Like, nobody cared. There was no like victory tour or like anything, no victor's village, nothing was like an incentive for these people to be watching the Hunger Games. There are so many interesting things about this book, and I do like appreciate everything in it, I think, and all the information we just got, because I think it just makes everything so much more complex. And I do enjoy villain origin stories and seeing how villains come to be, so I did really enjoy that. But I think as a whole this book was a little too long and a little too detail oriented for my personal liking, and I can definitely see why people aren't liking this book, but I can also see why people would like this book. Overall, like, I don't even know how I feel about this book. Like, I didn't dislike it, I didn't love it. I don't know how I feel. Maybe my thoughts will come to me by the time to do my wrap up and you guys can hear about my thoughts then, but I have no idea. But I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. It was a whirlwind and my head really hurts, but I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this book if you've read it. If you've watched the vlog, I'm going to assume you read it because I completely spoiled it. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'd really love to discuss with people and get other people's opinions, because sometimes people notice things that I don't notice. So we can definitely discuss that down below in the comments. And subscribe if you're not yet already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!